So with this shooting, there's going to be a lot of violence. There's going to be a lot of demonstrations. There's going to be a lot of emotional involvement. There's going to be a lot of anger. Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Reality of Jesus. My name is Simon. Ephesians 6 verse 12. It says this: For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against powers of this dark world, and against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. One of the tricks that the enemy uses is to use distraction. And this is where he uses an event or a person as a cover up of what he's doing. He is the one causing the problem, but on the surface, you cannot really tell unless you have discernment. A quick example is an enemy can use someone to cause, let's say, violence in a workplace. Now, for you, if you do not know or if you don't have discernment, you might think it's that person, but rather it's the enemy that influenced that person to do whatever they did. And I'm not saying every evil thing or everything that we do, every bad thing that we do is influenced by the enemy, but I'm saying a lot of things that are happening in our society today, the enemy has a hand in it, but he's hiding behind the covers. And unless you're spiritually discerning, you're not able to tell what's the difference between something he's causing behind the scenes or something that's just dysfunctional. But the Bible reminds us that our struggle is not really against flesh and blood, but our main struggle is against rulers, against authorities, against powers of this dark world, and against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realm. You know, it's New Year, it's 2025. We all have goals, we all have things we are looking forward to this year. And just the same way we come up with goals to achieve for that year, just the same way we look to the Lord and ask Him, what are you doing for this year? That is the same way that the devil sits down and plans out the year of the things that they are going to do. Don't think the kingdom of darkness is full of confused spirits and confused people. No, they are very strategic, very smart, and they know what they're doing. So they plan. So the same way we sit down and plan our year is the same way they'll sit down and plan evil for that year. But how good is our God? Because sometimes the Lord will come before even the year starts, and He'll start telling you about the year, what the enemy is planning to do for that year, so you can position yourself and so you can pray. And most of the time, you're able to avert some of those things. Sometimes He tells us to know what the enemy is doing, and even though we're not able to avert it, we are conscious that that is the enemy that's causing it, and we're able to pray accordingly. So this year, 2025, is a big year spiritually because there are a lot of things happening. I did touch on a few of those things on another video. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. But 2025 is a big year spiritually, and the enemy knows that. The Lord is planning to do big and amazing things this year. So there's a spiritual shift spiritually where the Lord is preparing the ground for the new move of God. But now the enemy has picked up on that. And like I said at the beginning of the video, what he does best is to cause distractions. And the main reason for that is that people may lose focus. People are no longer focusing on God. People start focusing on the chaos, the violence, the injustice, all these things that he causes. And just by simply taking our focus from God, he has won. One of the things that the enemy has planned to do, like I said, he hides under things that we know. And unless you're spiritually discerning, you wouldn't know that it's the enemy causing all those things. So a few nights ago, the Lord spoke to me in a dream, and He showed me this man. He was Muslim. And this man, I can't remember where he was coming from or where he was, but he was shot by the police. Now, how the shooting happened, it looked like some kind of social injustice or racism. So there erupted a lot of chaos and a lot of violence. There was a lot of demonstrations by the Muslims. So apart from demonstrations by the Muslims, this shooting also made people very angry and very violent. Especially anger. I saw a lot of anger in the dream, and people are concerned, just like the previous shootings where we have a major shooting that shakes the nation and everyone is talking about it, that's the same thing that's going to happen. It's going to happen all over again. So it's going to be a Muslim man. He's going to be shot by the police. And then the Muslims are going to carry out demonstrations. But also the rest of the people are going to be very sensitive. So with this shooting, there's going to be a lot of violence. There's going to be a lot of demonstrations. There's going to be a lot of uh, emotional involvement. There's going to be a lot of anger. It's because of those things that people will shift their focus from God to those things. And once we lose focus, the enemy has started to win. Now, I'm not saying we should ignore the shootings and all those things. No, we shouldn't. Actually, we should pray for people. We should pray against those social injustices. We should pray against racism. But we should also know that the enemy uses those things as cover ups to cause violence, to cause anger, and to distract people from what the Lord is trying to do. So my prayer is that we can continue to pray for our nation, United States, that we can pray against those social injustices. We can pray against racism. We can pray against mass shootings. We can pray against, police shooting people from left to right without reason. Let's pray against all those things. Again, like I've said before, when the Lord has shown you something, you know how to pray. And that is the reason the Lord will show you something before it happens, so you can position yourself, you can pray. Now, sometimes you're able to avert some of those things, but sometimes we are not able to. But sometimes He'll show us anyway, just so we are conscious and so we are aware of what the enemy is doing. Let's continue praying. God bless you.